taking your mind off of things that are not now. And then also not trying to analyze or add commentary, or just if you're thinking about food for lunch that's going to happen in 2 hours later, but you start thinking about different restaurants and different places you may or may not even end up going. You want to stay in that present moment. That is self-care. With all, when you're in school with your kids, anything that's going around you, you can always just calm your anxiousness down, calm your mind down by tuning into that present moment. So that's number one. Number two would be forgiveness / non-judgment. And so forgiveness, again, if somebody comes in a Zoom and a loud, irritating noise, or if you're in a class and somebody is doing something and it's kind of annoying you, instead of judging it, you want to kind of neutralize it and just notice, I'm very in tuned and aware of my present moment. And it kind of takes, you want to transform that irritation into, I'm being very aware. I'm not worried about the test. I'm not worried about tomorrow. I'm not worried about my kids. I'm aware of this thing that's happening in this class right now, and I'm very in tune with it, and I'm not judging it one way or the other. So I'm offering forgiveness to anything that may come up that could be irritating or annoying or something that I just was not expecting when I'm really trying to focus. I can offer that forgiveness because it allows me to be in tune with what's happening in my present right now. And more importantly than offering forgiveness to others and things around you, forgiveness to yourself. So non-judgment to yourself, forgiveness and compassion to yourself. Anytime you feel like oh, I did something I didn't want to do, or oh, I did this and I should have done this, offer yourself a lot of love and compassion, because we don't affirm ourselves enough. And Tanette's workshop that was earlier today, it was such a powerful empowerment and inspiration, because it was very affirming of us. And we don't tend to do that. We're not conditioned to do that. We're conditioned to like focus and get things right and do things. But self-love and self-care is so important, to affirm yourself and offer yourself a lot of compassion and forgiveness throughout your day. If you make a mistake, you noticed it and you understand you did that, and I got it. I'm human, but I offer myself a lot of grace and forgiveness, and I'll do better next time. Whatever it is, just be gentle with yourself as your journey continues. Your parents, that's a whole other loaded layer of things that go on, and we can get very irritated with the things that are going on. We're cramped in small spaces with loud noises, but tuning into the present brings a little more joy to it, and kind of a little kind of something funny to it. It's not so chaotic if you can just make it, I'm very in tune with this present, and not judge it. So you want to do that with everything around you and with yourself, especially once classes start back. And some professors, this transition is hard for everyone, to transition to Zoom from being in classes, for our children, for ourselves, for the professors. Just a lot of grace to yourself, compassion, love, and forgiveness, and to others, because we're all in this together. We're all connected. And finally, my third highly suggested priority for self-care would be to breathe. So take the time anywhere you are. If your anxiety creeps up on you, if you're feeling very, very stressed, any place you are, in your car, with your kids, with noises, on a bus, on a bench, you can always stop and tune into the breath. And the breath is very important, because with each inhale and each exhale, if you're focusing your full attention and awareness on your breathing, you are forced into each present moment. You cannot, if you're in tuned and focusing your full attention on that inhale, feeling that breath come in, feeling that breath exhale, feeling your chest rise, feeling your chest go down, noticing how long an inhale is versus an exhale, not judging it, just watching it. You have no space in your mind to think about your stresses and your worries and stuff that's going on. So daily practicing of breathing and just tuning into that just a little bit, and silencing your mind from all these thoughts. We're conditioned not to focus on self-care as a priority. We're conditioned to focus on a lot of societal norms that kind of put that on the back burner. And self-care is not just getting your hair done, getting your nails done. Self-care is doing that inner work, that peaceful, that silencing the mind. So just tips to do that are those three major ones. I have 5 minutes left, and I do want to do one breathing exercise with everyone that you can always go back to no matter where you are. And I encourage you to bring your kids along on this journey of self-care. So my three children, I make them meditate every day before school, and sometimes when they're fighting or having arguments, we have to sit and be still and just meditate. And they might cry through it, but at the end, they feel great. And, just allowing yourself at whatever age you are, our mind is conditioned to think about so many things. Because that breath, when we focus on it, that brings us into the present moment. It's so natural, we take it for granted. And that's living. By our breathing is our living, but we don't really think about it. We just naturally do it. We're just breathing. But taking the time to just be silent, close your eyes, and tune into the breath whenever you need to. In your car, like I said, while your kids are running around, just that. It's even better to tune into it when you have a lot of chaos going on, because that's what your mind is doing, a lot of chaos. So focusing on that breath frequently, and practicing a lot of being present, non-judgment, love and compassion and forgiveness to yourself. Those are daily acts of self-care that we should be doing, especially during times like these, and especially during this transition, this part of your journey in life at this institution that you're going to be going to. So right now, whatever you're doing, just close your eyes and start to relax your body. Release the tension in your forehead. Release the tension in your eyelids. Notice the sounds around you without judging them. Notice any smells, any sensations on your body. If someone bumps into you, that's okay. Just notice it. That's your present. And start focusing on each inhale and each exhale. Completely put your full awareness and intention, and notice your breath. Notice how it moves. Notice how your chest feels. Your natural breath. Don't try to control it. With each exhale, relax a little more of your body. Release a little more tension with each exhale. Noticing all the sounds around you or the silence. And now, as you're breathing, on your inhale, in your mind, say in with your inhale. And on that exhale, say out with that exhale. Focusing on the breath, releasing any thoughts that are not of your breath, not of right now. Having your mind say in with each inhale, having your mind say out with each exhale. Noticing any of your senses in this present moment. And just continue to focus on the breath. And I'm going to just give gratitude for each and every person on this session, and for their life, their unique individual life, and all the goodness that it brings to this world, all the goodness that it brings to every life that is connected to you. Gratitude for the opportunity to connect right now. Gratitude for life. And focus on your breath. Honor it, enjoy it, give gratitude. And if you want, on each inhale, say in your mind, this inhale allows my body to relax. And on each exhale, say each exhale allows my mind to smile. And as you do that, picture something that makes you smile. Maybe a sunset, maybe something your child has done when no one was looking that just brought you so much internal joy, it brought a smile to your face. Focusing your full attention on each inhale and exhale. Allow yourself to have this time in this space to silence those thoughts, to silence things of the week, of the day, of later. And on these last few breaths, as you feel ready, just open your eyes and come back to center. Thank you for breathing with me. Thank you for conspiring with me. So I have 5 minutes left, and I would just like to encourage you, whatever way you feel that allows your mind or brings you joy and just causes you to feel a peaceful and a stillness, please do a lot of that. Especially when school starts, make that a priority. Just 2 minutes, 5 minutes a day. You don't know how much that'll transform you. You owe yourself that. Honor yourself, honor your body. It allows you to experience this life that we take for granted. Even if you have less than a perfect bill of health, give your body extra love for the extra work that it's doing to keep you here. So I just encourage everyone to take time throughout this quarter that's coming up to do a lot of self-care, internal self-care. We should be healing. We should be doing self-love, self-care, just like we're breathing. And thank you guys for including me in this opportunity. And I'm pretty much done. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Tiffany. I mean, if anyone still has any questions, we can answer them at the end too. But thank you, Tiffany, for sharing what you do and all of that, like the importance of self-care. I think so many of us learn to like respect other people and things, but we never learn how to do it and respect our health and ourselves. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to start with our essential resources panel. And we're going to have the housing, we're going to do our research, we're going to do our financial aid and housing panels. And then, like I said, if we can leave any questions until the end, and then we'll open up the space for any questions, any thoughts. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the housing panel, and we're going to start with Starket. And Starket is she's a student. She is going, she has her BA. She graduated already in anthropology and film and TV media studies with a minor in African American studies. And she's been working on a dual master's prep program under independent research at UCLA and UCB and Graduate School of Journalism. And she's now working on her master's in anthropology. And she's been a community leader here at the UCLA University Village Family Housing. And she's been implementing programs and resources for the residents here. She wears many hats and has an extensive resume. And we're so happy that she's able to join us this afternoon.
Thank you, Nancy. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for this opportunity. Hi, everyone. My name is Star Edwards. I'm a graduate of UCLA. I'm also a Center for Community Partnerships alumni. I'm a mom of two boys and of an almost 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. And I work in UCLA's family housing as a delegate for the University Apartments South Residents Association. I'm here to talk to you about family housing. So what is family housing? What is it for? Of course, it's for it's housing for families. We are an off-campus community called University Village, located about 5 miles outside of UCLA, which consists of student residents who are married, have a domestic partner, and who are single parents. The apartments consist of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. University Village is not only a place to live with your family, but we also have collaborated departments within our housing called Residential Life and University Apartments South Residents Association, which help the student resident families make it a place called home by giving an array of resources for them and to make sure that students are not lacking in any needs as they're living, attending school, and raising their families. So what are the rates? What are the rates and the documents to move in financial aid benefits? Next slide, please. The rates will be, so a 1 bedroom.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm going to say we have a little bit more time for the housing if you want to go a bit more in detail of it.
Okay, so yeah, so my last part, I'm going to go more into details more into detail about the housing. So right now, the rates are here. You can see the current family rates are 1 bedroom, 1 bath is $1,718. 2 bedroom, 2 bath is $1,805. Um, let's see, 3 bedroom, 2 bath is $2,039, which includes free Wi-Fi and free cable paid by the university. This is at a student rate, and apartments in the particular area of the housing are much higher than what these rates are. So now I want to go into the documents you need to move in. So the university will ask residents to provide original or certified copies of documents. You need to have a marriage certificate or domestic partnership registration and or birth certificates for your children. So yeah, so if you don't have your like a marriage certificate or a domestic partnership certificate, registration. You can also show a shared utility bill, joint banking statements, or rental agreements with your partner that you have had with your partner to show that you have an established relationship with those agreements with your partner for a minimum of 1 year. Okay, sorry. And then the last part of this section is financial aid benefits. So if students have an issue with paying their rent, and they're receiving financial aid, they can receive a budget increase for rent, which is through student loans. And you actually have to pay your rent within 10 days from the first of the month. There's a 10-day grace period. After the 10th of the month, there is a $30 late fee. But actually the late fee could be avoided with a payment arrangement, and the payment arrangements can be set up through UCLA's housing office. And if a student is receiving financial aid and they have a stipend, not a stipend, but they have incoming financial aid, and for previous, like later on coming in, a refund coming in, they can financial aid could defer that rent, that payment, and they'll be able to pay the rent later and not be charged that late fee. So, and also for housing accommodations, if any student needs housing accommodations, they can also reach out to the Center for Accessible Education at UCLA. Next slide, please. So why is this the best place to live as a parenting student? First of all, the community support. This is a way you can build community as a parenting student. We are community support going, and we're support going towards similar goals. As a parent myself, University Village is where I have built my community within UCLA. Sometimes it's hard to build that community on campus when you're a parent because everyone is so focused, everyone's into their work. Sometimes the parents have to go pick up their children. So it's hard to kind of establish those relationships on the particular campus of UCLA. So for instance, when I first started UCLA, I didn't have children. When I gave birth to my boys, I was able to reach out to my University Village community for support and to their support systems. We have systems like nanny shares and watching one another's children. This is what saved me as a mom who became a single mom while I was studying after marrying. And it has allowed me to be able to continue my studies. So it's actually been very beneficial to live in University Village because of the community support. There's also childcare at UCLA, early care and education on the premises of University Village. And there's also University Parents Nursery. So for the smaller children, babies all the way up to 5 years old, there's usually a wait list to get in. But if you're determined to follow up with the administrators, you'll have a good chance to have your children accepted. And that's what I did. I just kept knocking on doors and kept making calls, and my children were accepted. They take children as young as about 3 months old, all the way up until they go to kindergarten. And both of my boys started UCLA Early Care and Education when they were infants. And my oldest just graduated from there and just started kindergarten last week actually. So also, another benefit for living in university housing and University Village is we have programming to meet the needs of parenting students and to have fun with the children and to build the children up. We have UCLA departments who bring resources to UV. I'm a person who brings those resources to the residents to make sure they are not in need of anything. And we have a free food distribution. That's one thing that we offer is food distribution from Trader Joe's. Every week, we offer classes like CPR classes for new parents having their new babies. So they have a peace of mind about that. As you see on the picture here, we have classes in our community center, like music classes for children, foreign language classes, fitness classes. We have festivals for the children for the top holidays. Children get to dress up for Halloween and go through, have a festival, go from door to door. We even take pictures, family pictures with Santa every year under our gazebo. So it's a really great place to live. I've given my boys multiple birthday parties at the gazebo and pizza parties at our pool. So the residents also actually barbecue a lot too at the pits for family dinners and parties. Finally, the residents' children enjoy the various playgrounds that are throughout the site. But of course, these events have gone online since the pandemic. So hopefully everything will start back up soon. But it's just a fun experience for the residents to have children and raise their children in University Village. And my boys have really enjoyed it and have built friendships at University Village. They have built friendships there, and it's kind of interesting. It feels like a military community where children are at school at UCLA preschools, and then we see the same children we saw at school. We see when we get home on the playgrounds and outside, and we have barbecues with. So it's a wonderful experience. So in closing, I just want to remind everyone that whatever you put your mind to and persevere through, no matter the circumstances, and just be consistent. If you believe, you'll achieve it. One day you'll wake up and look back and say, I've accomplished. One day you'll wake up and say, I've accomplished this and I persevered through, and I've made opportunities for my children. So yeah, that's that's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, for the presentation on the family housing and how, there's so much more than just like the housing. There's programs, there's a community. It's kind of just everything. You get so much more from living here. Right now, we're gonna go next to Gustavo. Gustavo is a designer from Los Angeles, and he studied design media arts with a minor in visual and performing arts education here at UCLA. His focus is as a designer to create influential and impactful works through technological mediums to manifest the metaphysical into physical. Gustavo is an aspiring professor with the goal of teaching at UCLA. And Gustavo is going to go talk about like the commuter experience as a student. So welcome, Gustavo.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me today. How's everyone doing? Good, good, good. All right. So yeah, as a commuting student, I'll just be completely honest with y'all. It's sometimes difficult because of, having to be a parent and getting up early and getting all your schedule in line. But I think that once you manage to get your schedule in order, and then you get into the routine and the swing of just like getting up early and making sure that, your child is ready to go to school, or especially now with remote learning, it's not as difficult though. But when you're physically going on and off campus, I believe that's like the bottom line, is that once you have your schedule in order, everything just falls into place, and then you just get into the swing of things. Also, as a commuting student, and a parent, you also get priority in parking. I'm not sure if that was discussed already, but that actually is like a huge incentive because now you're guaranteed your spot, like going to school, which also means that if there's an emergency with your child, you're able to leave campus and go straight to whatever that emergency might be. I'll give you an example. So my daughter, her name is Kayla. She's 3.5 years old. But last year she was on the playground playing with mom, and she's like really active, and she likes to like explore and whatnot. And she actually had fell down and broke her arm. And this happened while I was in the middle of class. So I get the text message, the call. I saw the missed calls, and I'm like, this is really odd. So grab the phone, pick it up. And another thing was that my teachers, when I let my teacher know, my professor know, they were extremely accommodating. Like anything that had to be taken care of, they were like, Gustavo, like, don't worry about it. We're here for you. Do what you got to do. Family always comes first. So go ahead and take care of that. Luckily, everything was already taken care of. So mom calls me. She's like, Kayla's fine. Don't worry about it. You can stay in class. But just the fact that my professor was so supportive, the TA was so supportive, that I had the parking really close to where I'm in school, which is at the Broad Arts Center, made it so easy for me to like literally just like go down the building, couple steps to the parking lot, be able to get in my car and scoot out and get to wherever I needed to get to. So yeah, that was like one of the major like perks, you know, like pluses of being the commuter student. Because again, if anything happens with your child, you know, like you're able to go from and to wherever you need to take care of. The other thing is a commuter student that I'll say that is like a plus for me is the fact that I do get to, how can I put it, de-stress. If some of y'all stay in the Valley, especially like Pierce College, Los Angeles Valley College, LABC, or any of the schools around the Valley, there's two ways to get to campus, which I find very relaxing, and you're like not on the freeway, so you're taking these streets, you're seeing all these beautiful homes, you're seeing beautiful scenery, lots of nature, and then you coast down into the campus. And that was like another plus for me because it actually helped me prepare my mind before I got onto campus. So I got to like, you know, give myself some positive reinforcement, encouragement, and whatever I needed to do to prepare myself before I entered campus, which for me as a commuting student, I can say that is like, again, family first, right? So I always prepare myself mentally, like I'm here for a purpose. I have a purpose, and my purpose is to be the best student that I can possibly be, because whatever outcome like I generate from my being here, my presence on campus, is going to directly impact my child. So I always keep those things in mind before I go onto campus, just to like prepare myself, right? And to give myself, again, that positive reinforcement so that when I'm on campus, like I'm at 100%, no matter what I went through or what had occurred. So that like trip, that commuting trip really helps me out. Another thing that I do on my way back home after I leave class is I'll play a couple of like songs that'll either motivate me or like help de-stress me from like the long days. And I don't recommend y'all do this, but sometimes I'll be watching movies in the car because like sometimes traffic does not move. So I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. Sometimes like I'm in a pocket of traffic. So I'll listen to, again, music or play something that's like related to what I'm studying. So that can always be like a perk. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have for y'all. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly. You can send me a message. I'll be on here. Thank you.
Thank you, Gustavo. Thank you for sharing that. You know, no matter what situation we have, even if we don't live near campus, that we can always like turn it to something positive and still get something even from our drives or, you know, just to prepare us. So thank you so much. Right now, our next student panel is our research panel. And I'm gonna introduce Miriam and Brenda, which are like so many students that do research here. But you know, it's amazing also to say that they're moms and they're doing research too. So I look up to them because, you know, no matter, like we have all this schoolwork, but then they're taking also time to like do the research. I'm gonna introduce Brenda Coronel. She graduated with I can't even pronounce this, a summa cum laude in college honors right now in 2020. with a BA in sociology. During her time at UCLA, she was granted the Undergraduate Research Fellows Program Scholarship to conduct her own independent research on student parents in higher education. She's a single mom, and she's committed to breaking the stigma of single parents raising low-income families. She's dedicated her personal and professional life to serving others and will continue as she pursues her master's in social welfare here at UCLA Luskin, where she contributes diverse skill sets and perspectives as a mother of color who is deeply committed to improving the lives of historically underserved communities. Brenda, do you want to start?
Thank you, Nancy.
You're
Yes. So I dedicated, can we go to the next slide, Suleika? Thank you. So I dedicated my time at UCLA to researching student parents because research on lived experience of our lived experience is essential for tackling educational barriers and sharing successful resources. My research paper illuminates how local forms of racial disparities have been the underlying reasons why student parents in Los Angeles community colleges lack institutional resources. I'm gonna go ahead and share. My research paper that I'm talking about got published. So I went ahead and shared the link on the chat. So if you wanna know more about racial disparities and underlying reasons why we lack institutional resources, you can go ahead and click on that. The research program I did is called Undergraduate Research Fellows. I did get a 3K stipend for it. It was only 2 quarters, unlike some programs, which Miriam will introduce later, that are 2 years versus 2 quarters. And my cohort consisted of 15 undergraduate students. We all had different majors. It was very diverse, the classmates. And what's required of this to be part of this 2-quarter program is that first, like any other research, you have to find a faculty mentor to do your work with you to help you conduct this research. And I was fortunate enough to work with Karita L. Brown. She's the only Black woman sociologist at UCLA. Tiffany Pitts will tell you. Karita helped me find my voice at UCLA. So I worked with her for winter and spring quarters for 2 units each quarter plus 1 4-unit quarter. And what's cool about that is it actually boosts your GPA when you take a 4-unit grade letter class, because when you're done with your research, most programs make you write a research paper, which is what I did. And I did get credit for it, so I could take less course load because I took that for 4 units, and it boosted my GPA. As a working student parent, this really helped me because I took less classes and it helped my GPA. And some tips I wanted to share going through this is that you can use your research thesis, which I did. I did apply to a PhD program. So as an undergrad with your bachelor's, you can apply straight into your PhD for most programs. You would, unlike the master's application, for your PhD application, you have to submit a writing sample so they can see how you write. And my writing sample was the paper I shared with you. So that's my, you can use that as a published paper or as a senior research thesis. And it'll help you be a competitive candidate when applying for PhD programs. I also advise that you start early. When you, as transfer students or any incoming students, you start usually in the fall. And that's when McNair's, Mays, even this program, they're all due. So your first quarter, which is only like 10, 11 weeks, you have to find a faculty mentor. So I suggest that you go on your page. So mine was my major sociology. So I went to the sociology page and I looked up all the faculty and I chose 5 who really resonated with my research interest. And that's how I got Karita Brown. You email them. And also when you email them, they don't know who you are, especially now that everything's online. So make sure to attach your resume, your personal statement, and your research proposal. You're gonna have to have those materials ready anyways when you turn in your application in order to do research. And this picture I'm sharing with you, this was actually me presenting during the poster board week. And this is actually on the Graduate Mentoring and Research Programs page on their website. And if you go to that room, the GMRP, they will review your research proposal. They will work with you with everything. Actually, if you go there, that's actually the place you go to apply for McNair's. And I'm going to pass it on to Miriam. She is a powerful mama, and she actually is a McNair scholar. So Miriam, if you could please share your experience with McNair's.
Thank you, Brenda. Good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to let you all know ahead of time that I have two very young kids running around right now, and there is a possibility that they might come in screaming, asking for me to make them a cup noodles, because that's real life for me right now. So with that being said, I did not prepare any slides. I really wanted to, I didn't even honestly plan to present anything. I just wanted to keep this very, very raw and to really open up a space for any questions you might possibly have. As Brenda mentioned, I am a current, well, I just finished my 2-year-long commitment with the Ronald E. McNair Research Scholars Program, but I came in from LA Valley College and did participate in an intensive summer transition program for incoming transfer students called TSP. And it was really during that summer program and taking an introduction to research course and having the opportunity to hear about research. And also Sherry, I had met her as a current scholar a few years back, and I remember she presented on Melon Maze, which is really just another research program in similar ways like McNair. And I just kept hearing about research and research. And when I heard the stipend, or when I heard about how many scholars got accepted, I already counted myself out before having even familiarized myself with the program or with its mission statement. And for me, part of it had to do with the imposter syndrome, but another component was that I was a parent and I didn't know how I would manage a school, let alone like an intensive research program and a commitment of 2 years. Everything was really scary for me. And so it really took a lot of connecting and talking to other people that were already in that program. So if any of you are interested in research, I obviously think it's important to develop a strong research proposal and have all of those kind of important components of the application. But I also think it's equally important to build relationships and get the opportunity to meet other scholars that have already been accepted into the program, that have gone through the program and the process, that can speak to that experience. And for me, Cherry was that person. She was a current Mellon scholar at the time, and she really talked about how she was able to balance work life and family life, but also really engage with this thing we call research. And so if there's any advice I can give for anyone interested in research, it would definitely be set time aside to prioritize the academics, but also invest time in connecting with people, building relationships, and asking for help. It took me a very, very long time to do that. It's actually still something I struggle with right now as I'm in the process of applying to graduate school, but it served so much value, because if I hadn't met Cherry, if I hadn't physically seen someone like Cherry who had gone through the process, I would have just gotten in my head to the point that I wouldn't have applied. And it is so powerful, I think, to meet people, especially people that are parents. Like, I don't even have to explain anything to Sherry. She gets it. I don't have to justify. She just gets it. And so I really wanted to take this opportunity to come here, answer any questions y'all might have about the program. If you're interested in McNair, Mellon Mays, I also applied to the undergraduate research fellows, Educators for Tomorrow, and as an English major, I also applied for English departmental honors. And when I applied fall quarter, I got accepted into every single program. And I say that to really affirm myself and remind myself and remind all of you that the fact that we're parents, it's an asset. Like, we have so much to contribute and so much to give that sometimes in these kind of spaces, it's difficult, at least it was for me, to believe that. And it took me a full 2 years and still a process, but I just wanted to acknowledge and reaffirm you all that. And I really mostly wanted to come to share my personal UCLA email and let you all know, if any of you are interested in research, I will give you my personal UCLA email and we can reach out. You can reach out, we can schedule a Zoom appointment, and I can give you tips and tricks and what I did to navigate this process, because it's not just the academic part. There's so much more that goes into the application process. With that, I think I'll leave enough time and space for everybody else, but I will stick around for some time and then post my UCLA email on the chat as well.
Thank you, Miriam, for sharing. Thank you, Miriam and Brenda. We're going to try to leave our questions until the end, but we're going to move on to our next student panel, which is resources and advocacy with Liz and with Suleika. Liz, pronouns are she and her, is a non-traditional third-year transfer and Regents and Chancellor Scholar at UC Berkeley. She's majoring in sociology and gender studies. She transfers from Santa Monica College, where she co-founded the Parenting Students Network. Liz is a mother of 2 and a proud alumni of Parenting Site 2019. So I want to introduce Liz.
Hi, I just wanted to say hello and thank you for having me here for this opportunity to speak. I'm from the Parenting Site cohort from last summer. So I have just transferred to UC Berkeley, and actually this is my first time back with you all, I think. And I'm seeing the messages. I just wanted to say hello so that Suleika can introduce herself as well. Thank you for having me.
Hi, everyone. So my anxiety right now is at an all-time high because I'm trying to be like as professional as I can with the slides. I'm the one behind the scenes controlling the slides. So if I mess up, I'm so sorry. But yeah, my name is Suleika. I'm a first generation non-traditional parenting student. I'm double majoring in political science and Latin American studies. I was actually supposed to graduate last year, but I decided to stay an extra year so that I can pick up another major, which was Latin American studies. I worked in the past with the Students with Dependence program at UCLA. They help support and provide resources to parenting students. And so I'm very in tune with like the resources that UCLA offers to parenting students. And I've spent most of my time here at UCLA advocating for parenting students, not only on campus, but UC-wide. And actually this year I was nominated to be the transfer student representative in student government for UCLA. So I'm excited about that.
Thank you, Suleika. And Liz, if you just wanted to quickly touch on what the work that you did in Santa Monica.
Yeah, so just to kind of like go back to my story, my partner is talking super loud on the phone outside right now. So I might like, stop a little bit when I'm speaking because I can't walk and chew gum. But yeah, so I actually came back to community college after, it was like 17 years after I started. Actually, I came back 14 years after I started. And I didn't know about the resources that we're about to cover. I didn't know about CCCP. I didn't know that there was a term, an identity called student parent. Like obviously I know that there's parents in college, but I didn't quite understand what that meant. And so I failed when I first came back. I really did. I got a big ol' F and I thought I was never coming back. I'm like, they're never gonna let me back in here. And I came back a couple years later when I was ready and actually found out about CCCP on accident. I was just kind of like talking to the representative at Santa Monica College. And that really changed my whole trajectory because I got plugged into a community of student parents. Like I was one of my mentors, and I learned that I could come back with CalWorks and have support. I learned about DSP and all of these resources that could help support me so that I could be the best student that I could. So we workshopped a lot last summer about what we can do when we go back to our community colleges. And one of the things I did was start the Parenting Student Network at Santa Monica College. So this was actually really more of an online presence and idea support through Zoom and Instagram, honestly, because by the time it was starting to come off the ground, we were hit with the pandemic. But luckily, before that, I was in everybody's face at Santa Monica financial aid, the vice president. I was just really working to advocate for student parents. And it was lucky that that happened, because when the pandemic hit, we were really hung out to dry at first, right? Like as student parents, it was very difficult. So having that community to communicate to administration what our needs were, what problems we were having, was essential. So if there's anyone out there from Santa Monica College, hit me up, because I can share with you what I did if you want to continue it. I'm also going to put in the chat a website that I created called, I think it's smcparentingstudents.org, where I put together a lot of information and resources. So it's always just kind of like right there, whether it's like 2 a.m. and you're up, or like whatever, if I'm sleeping, that information is always there. Yeah, so if we look at this slide in terms of like the resources that are available at the community college level, I didn't know about any of these, and I ended up using all of these except for EOPS, because back in the day I had too many units, so I couldn't do EOPS, and maybe Suleika can speak on that in a moment. CalWORKs enabled me to have my daughter in preschool, which I thought was never going to happen. I couldn't imagine not having to care for my child 24/7, which was my normal experience. There are some on-site childcare programs depending on what your campus is, and it's crazy how you may not know. At Santa Monica College, for example, if you search student parent, parenting students, children, all these keywords, to be honest, things don't come up. And it's a very isolating experience, because you can't identify. If you saw me sitting in class, like, you wouldn't necessarily know I had children. So we're all kind of like, you know, having this parallel experience until we connect. You can get a free childcare book vouchers. I had a bus credit. I had a gas credit through CalWORKs. Reduced parking fees. There's food pantry right next to the CalWORKs office at my campus. And that was very important, especially as food insecurity became an issue for me. And am I missing anything here, Suleika?
No, you're doing great. I did want to touch on EOPS. I did apply for EOPS when I was in community college. They helped me a lot with like book vouchers. They gave me like some vouchers to buy like a backpack for myself. They also paid for my like graduation cap and gown. So they do like a lot of great things, but there is a cap on like units, which I don't agree with, but I mean, it's there. But yeah, one of the things that I really wanted to touch on too, like going into community college to like the UC system or like the CSU system or any four-year university, is that the skills that we gain during our community college years, we apply them to the the four-year university system. The skills that I gained from like starting a club, because I started a club as well in community college, it was for pre-law, not necessarily for parenting students, but those skills that I gained and navigating that really helped me on reigniting a club at UCLA, which is parenting students at UCLA. It used to be like a community building organization, but when I sort of took it under my wing, I turned it more into like an advocacy thing where I started advocating for parenting students in different spaces. And I wanted to touch on like some of the things that some of the UCs, the resources that they offer. There's like basic needs, meal vouchers, emergency loans. You'll see some of these at the UCs, not all of them, but I want to emphasize too that we wouldn't have these resources if it wasn't for students advocating. So it's really important that we understand that cycle, that these resources are there because students speak up for themselves. They they believe in like their identity. Like, let's not, be ashamed that we are parenting students. And I feel like just having that strength and knowing that this is who we are really applies to like advocating and doing all these things that we do, which brings me to the next topic of advocacy. So like for really quick, I just want to go through that because I want to be conscious of time. Like the advocacy project is obviously identifying a need or an issue. Once you have your issue or need, you have to create a support community. So who can you get to get buy-in? And that can look different in many ways. It can be faculty, it can be your fellow students, it can be administrators, it can be anyone who really wants to support your issue that you're fighting for. And then you have to create an action plan. And I feel like, again, this whole cycle can literally just transition into back and forth into community college and UCLA. Did you want to expand, Liz?
Right. Yeah. I wanted to talk about my experience with this, which was like, for example, in my short time in this last year at Santa Monica College, their Title IX statement, for example, which I wasn't even aware of what this concept was until CCP. It didn't mention student parents, and it didn't mention parenting students, not just students who have newborns or giving birth. And this became an issue. So when we went online, we communicated with the vice president of the school, who said they would bring it up at the meeting, which we weren't invited to, but they did change their Title IX statement and actually created a page for student parents, which now that they have switched their website, it's hard to find. So I'm gonna call them to make that much more visible and easy to find. But they had nothing, and that was one of the big changes that happened there. Other things that you can do in terms of like working with other departments is just, as you're going through your experience in the community college, the departments that you're interfacing with, you remember it's not just you have an opportunity to speak with them about your student population. So for example, in financial aid in Santa Monica, I was able to make a connection with someone there who I could refer other student parents to work on their specific issues. He even invited us to have a workshop just for student parents. That was right before the pandemic, unfortunately. But these are things that you'd be surprised how open these departments are if you really just honestly don't just bug them. Like, do not stop, and you will be heard.
Yeah, thank you for that, Liz. If you have any questions on like advocacy projects or anything, we can leave them for the Q&A portion. But we'll move on to UCLA financial aid and other packages. So I want to introduce Nancy O'Connor and Tommy Fuentes. So Nancy is a non-traditional parenting student from Mid-City, Los Angeles. She transferred from East Los Angeles College to UCLA in 2018. She attended about 5 different community colleges all over Los Angeles throughout the last 20 years. It wasn't until her mid-30s that she first took a culturally relevant class. It changed her life and how she viewed, education. Through one of these courses, she learned about the CCCP parenting site in 2017, which she then applied. And then after she's actually now applying to a master's program in the fall. And then through CCCP, she gets to inspire others, other parenting students, by showing them how she navigated higher education with the support of her CCCP community. Nancy?
Thank you, Suleika. Yeah, so I want to share my financial aid package. And I just want to share like some points. I had never applied for financial aid before when I was in community college. So I really want to highlight these two pictures right here, or financial aid pictures information. I applied to financial aid at a time where I was still married. So my ex-husband's finances were attached to mine. So I didn't really get anything at first. And I just want to show how through appeals and through this whole process, I was able to change that. I want to show that through this award period on the left-hand side, there's 9 different offers that I took throughout the whole last year. Because I didn't know that you can change or appeal, or that you didn't have to take the first initial offer. So I just want to highlight that, you can do budget increases, you can ask for more money. I was fortunate enough to, after appealing my income with my income taxes, I was eligible then for the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan. which basically all my tuition is covered for each academic year. And through it, here you can see that I've received a few grants. We have an education grant. We have a parenting grant that we receive for like $2,000, and then we receive an additional one for about $5,000-$6,000 that has really helped. It shows here that I also have work study. And for myself, I did have to take out loans, which I don't feel bad about because it was the only way that I was going to be able to pay for my housing for me and my son. So I don't feel bad about that. Anything that I owe, it's because just of the housing, not the tuition. So I want to show everyone that it is possible to come to UCLA, to university like this, because there is money for you. I honestly never thought that anything would get paid for me because I just didn't know how to navigate the system. And it's scary to have to like try to negotiate with money and do all that. But I want to show people that all of us that you can get, there is money there for us. Even if it's a UC and it costs more, there's definitely money. I mean, you can see here that all of this for this last academic year, the cost of attendance was $44,000 that if you would have shown me these numbers before I was a CCCP mentee and without other guidance, I would have just not ever gone for it because I wouldn't have known that you can. And also I want to let everyone know that if you have any questions regarding the financial aid, please, you can put questions in the chat at the end, or you can reach out to me just so you know that it is possible to come here and get financial aid. So we also want to highlight the Cal State experience with the financial aid. So I want to introduce Tommy. And Tommy, he's a father of two. He studied aerospace engineering at Cal Poly Pomona that he just transferred to, and he transferred from Pierce College, and he's going to be talking about his experience with financial aid at a Cal State level.
Sorry, I had myself on mute. Thank you for that. So for Cal State, definitely the good thing is it's not that expensive class wise. So that's pretty much one of the biggest benefits because you pretty much are just paying one single amount. And if you kind of want to overload on units, if you want to go from like 12 to 18, makes no difference. You still pay the same pretty much for the whole year. So that's one good thing that they were mentioning to me as I was transitioning to Cal Poly. But for mine, they did offer or what I got was pretty much just the regular Pell Grant, and then the Cal Grant is what I was able to use to pay for my tuition. If you see right there where it says Cal Grant B tuition, that's the one generally you're going to use for the Cal State tuition. And then because I have my boys, I was able to get the students with dependent Cal Grant, which, as you can see, that one is a good amount, and it definitely does help me out. And then the loans, like how Nancy said, I didn't really mind at that point. And then a lot of my engineering professors just kind of tell you, don't worry about it. Just kind of slap it onto maybe a 30-year loan, and you just forget about it and probably never pay it back over time. But the whole thing is there is always money, because that's just right there what I have as 26,000. That's what they have estimated as the cost for attendance for a CSU. Now I know as parents, I mean, we go through a lot more money than that, especially with rent and food, clothes, anything really. I did also kind of save as much as I could along the way before I transferred. But the biggest thing that really helped me in this case was also looking for scholarships. Now, mind you, I am in aerospace and it gets really competitive. There's a lot of high GPAs for scholarships and everything like that. But my GPA isn't really high, and I got a lot of scholarships still. My GPA is under 3. It's just right under. It's like 2.8, and I still got like over time, mostly within like the last few months, I was able to get at least like 3,000 in just about that was just 2 scholarships. One was 1,000, another one was 2,000, and then before that, I was able to get about 7,000 over time, and that was a bunch of 500 scholarships. Those didn't appear on my financial aid. I didn't really say anything, but they didn't say anything about it. So those were all direct deposit to my account. So that's also one thing you want to take in consideration. It is almost like a second job trying to look for the scholarships, but it definitely pays out because, I mean, as you can see, 26,000 is pretty good. But then when you add about another 10 to it, that definitely does help. Scholarships, you can find them pretty much anywhere. You can look at any company websites. You can definitely just search scholarships on there if they have any searching system, or on financial aid. I mean, on FAFSA, the website, you can also look at it there. I think they have a specific website indicating like a long list of scholarships. But that's mainly what I used for both of the for mainly what I used for my financial aid. That really helped out. So it's pretty much the Pell Grant and the Cal Grant that really helped me out. That's a majority, and then the loans.
Thank you, Tommy. So right now, thank you, everyone. Oh, look at Tommy's boys. Oh, thank you for showing them. Right now, we're gonna go, and our next is we're gonna talk about scholarships and the Raise the Bar organization that has been working with us and providing us another path, or to getting scholarships for parenting students. So I will pass it on to Brenda.
Maybe 1 second. Maybe we have time to answer 2, or if anyone have any question for any of our panelists.
Oh yes, I'm sorry.
No,
Yes,
go for
we
it.
can. Yes, I'm sorry, everyone. If we can, this is our time for if anyone has any questions that we can answer.
Feel free to type it in too, and we can also answer.
I think this question might be great for Star. I heard that guarantee housing for the first year at UCLA has been canceled due to the pandemic. Is this true for other UCs? Oh, no, I don't know if is it true for UCLA first?
Okay, so what was the question again?
It's in the chat. I heard that
Okay.
guarantee housing for the first year at UCLA has been canceled due to the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
Oh, so you're saying okay, so the question is, has rent been canceled or guaranteed housing? I think they're still looking into that. In my last meeting, I heard that they were still looking into that. So they don't really know for sure. I mean, everything is just like an ongoing thing, we're getting information in regards to the pandemic. So I don't really know for sure. But if whoever asked the question could email me and I can get back with you on that.
Thank you. And Dixie, if there's specific UCs that you're if there are specific UC that you're looking at, let us know, and hopefully we can connect you to someone.
I think UCLA put out a statement saying that, like, for on-campus housing, it's gonna be determined by necessity. And I know that for the family housing, I'm not sure how it's done, but I've seen a lot of transfer students get their housing. A lot of our mentees have got their housing. So I think it just depends, and I think maybe they're saying that, but I've seen a lot of students get their housing, if that helps.
Can I chime in really quick?
Yeah.
Okay. So in the meetings that I've been in, it does not affect family housing. So family housing, if you're a parenting student, you're guaranteed basically housing based on availability. If you are on campus, so if you're like a single student who is looking to move on campus housing, like on the hill or things like that, that is where they're trying to determine whether they should have students on campus. At the moment, they've reduced the amount to about 8% of the student population to be on campus. And from what my understanding is, if you have the 1-year guarantee, if you don't get it this year, you get it next year.
Thank you. And then I think this question is great for Nancy. Jessica asked, how do you ask for money / appeal for more money at a university?
The way that I was doing it is that I've gone to the financial aid, and there is different ways. Like at first, like I said, when I wasn't getting any money, they had, and I had to prove that I wasn't married anymore. And at that time, I was still going through like the divorce process of paperwork. So all I did was provide them just like that I started the process, not really that it finished or like a divorce was settled. So I just had to show that, and and that was good enough for them to like my financial package changed completely. Also, there's us when you go to the financial aid, there's just like a basic form. It's not even so hard. It's just like a basic form where there's like a budget increase. Like if you show that you have rent, especially like it helps if like you live in a housing, you can just they'll give you a rent increase, and you'll get more money each quarter. There's also like a child care budget increase, where if you show proof that you have to pay for childcare. And I've heard that you can have someone that you're taking it doesn't even have to be like a facility. It can just be anyone taking care of your child. And if you show proof that you're paying them like through checks, that's another way to do a budget increase. There's a computer increase too, where you can like say that if they do it now like once every per degree, that you can ask for another budget increase to purchase a computer that's like up to $2,000, I believe. So there's, and also there's like the emergency place at ECRT, where you can ask them for money if you need, if you have an emergency. They're kind of just really on it. I know they've been busy, but lots of us utilize that, where we say we have nothing. Can you help us with our rent? And somehow they pull out money from either your future financial aid that's coming or from I don't know what places, but you'll get a nice, they'll give you $1,000, $2,000. So it's just kind of asking and not being ashamed to ask, because it's hard. Sometimes financial aid people can be rude, but you ask, and there's, we have another place on campus too where you can borrow money for a month. If you show that you have a job, you can borrow like $300 and pay it back in a month. So I think those are the ways to get money. If you have more questions, I'm gonna put my my work email on the chat, and you can ask too.
Thank you. And I think Natasha asked, you've been getting emails for Cal Grant increase. Are those legitimate? I would say depending on who's sending them to you, but there is, I believe, because of the parenting grant, the Cal grants have been increased. So just, I would, see who's sending you the emails. I think some colleges are actually sending them through their college email. So I would say that. And then I know there's a question on supplemental parenting award. And I want to direct this question to both Liz and Gustavo. I think both of you are receiving parenting grants, right?
Carrie,
Yes.
can I just add something before you move to that?
Go for it.
I want to make sure that that everybody understands that we are here to help. And everything that Nancy did and said can be overwhelming to think all of the challenges that she had to go through. So that's why she's telling you. And I want to make sure that if you find yourself in a situation where you don't understand, you want to appeal or whatever, reach out to us, because we can help you along the way. Oftentimes students don't reach out to us, and then after a decision, comes out, they come back to us and ask. So if you are in a position and you're going to be at UCLA, please let us know, because we know, I mean, I've been there for 100 years, so I know a lot of different people, and we're all well connected throughout the campus. So we can sometimes mitigate some of the challenges before you have to go through all of that process. So, and if you're going somewhere else, reach out to us to let us know. I was just talking to Liz, and she's connected at Berkeley through a couple of people, but I have a really good connection that I'm going to connect her with at Berkeley. So if you do attend somewhere else, let us know, because we want to make sure that you find your support, and, you know, wherever it is that you're going to be. So use the resources. I think our first speaker, and I just forgot her name, Danette, is that right? She was amazing, our keynote. She was amazing. And she did say, reach out. Everyone here today is here to help you. So I wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfred. Again, I think if you don't take anything away from this workshop, it is connect. Okay, so that question about parenting grant, Gustavo, can you touch upon it quickly, and then Liz to just maybe give a different side of the parenting grant at Berkeley?
So the 2K, I do receive that, and that does help. So when the first time that I saw parenting award, I was like, yes, because I had heard Cherry mention it before. It was something that had been in the works. So I do receive that. It is like a humongous, extraordinarily help as a parent. But I'm very interested in that 5K supplemental. That's something that I was not aware of, that now I want to go back financial aid office and try to see how I can get that money. Because I did want to mention something briefly. For me, I came in as a sophomore student, which is a 3-year. And so I'm actually maxed out in my award. So this 3rd year that I'm going in back in the fall, all I'm being covered is my tuition, but living expenses and everything now has to come out of pocket. So that $5,000 would definitely help me out as a parenting student. So if anybody can touch on that, thank you so much.
Yes, you know what? I will touch on that quickly, because, you know, when we found out about it, it was, you know, financial aid didn't give it to us right away. And, you know, I had to call them. A lot of us had to say, hey, we know there's an award. Where is it? And I had to contact them until they finally did it. I know that Brenda didn't get hers when I got mine, and she had to call and push them. So, and also the whole first year when I applied, I showed them the proof that I was a parent. You have to show them like your birth certificate, your child's birth certificate, to get the parenting act grant. And I did it, but I didn't know how to work it. I never saw it on my financial aid. And once you get into school, you don't care. But one day I came back to it like the following spring, and I was like, hey, I don't see that on it. And they're like, oh, sorry, we didn't put it on. So then they had to give it to me for spring. So for the parenting one, Gustavo, you have to go back and say, I didn't get that one, and they have to give it to you. So, and that's, and that's us having to advocate for ourselves. It's like a lot of things are there for us, but we have to push them, and we have to push financially too. I had to like constantly call them. They were like, your person is on vacation for a long time. And I had to talk to a lot of people, and I had to call. And that's another thing I'll say, that the sooner the better. Like once I got my thing, I kept on going before school started. I must have gone to financial aid like 6 times way before school even started. And I want to say too quickly, also when I started TSP, I still had this huge balance of the TSP, which was like $6,000. So even like the 4 weeks into TSP, I had not had, my thing was still being determined and processed. So I just want to let you know that even if you don't have the money right there and that balance is pending, like you can still attend class. So I want to just say that, because I was like, they're going to kick me out, but it wasn't like that at all.
Thank you. And Liz, do you want to talk about the parenting grant at Berkeley?
Yeah. So as in terms of being not able to go to class, I think it's the same at UCLA. EOP will protect students from being dropped for non-payment. But in terms of the student grant and the student parent grant here, it's actually like $10,000. But I noticed on my financial aid that it was 4 because they credit, they move everything around and they credit the Cal Grant B towards that actually. So when my Cal Grant B came through at 6,000, then my parent grant was 4,000. But I think it's all about looking at your budget and adjusting your budget. Here, there's a lot of talk about the cost of attendance adjustment, I believe it's called. And I think once you can get that budget up, it will fill back up with the, if there's someone else that has more experience, I know Adriana, she's gone from the webinar today, but if there's someone else with more experience that can say what happens when you do that. But the actual grant is 10. Luckily, we have a student parent center here. They can guide you on cost of attendance and how to maximize that. I don't feel like it's as maybe like in Nancy's experience, the steps are kind of like hidden. I feel like it's all kind of there on the website and it's just a matter of staying on top of it. I actually did have some really simple mistakes because everything's haywire. I caught some mistakes in my financial aid and I had to call them and open a case. And I had to be the one to be like, yo, this is wrong. I have an RC scholarship. It's called Regents and Chancellors. So it's a great thing and I'm grateful, but also like, I don't know, like there's another student parent that has one that I need to connect with. If you find other students that have your similar situation and eligibility, those are the people to reach out to. If you're 0 EFC and you're reaching out to someone who's not 0 EFC, you're not going to get the proper guidance or advice from another peer.
I wanted to mention that when I transferred, I got into UCLA and Berkeley, and yes, Berkeley does give you more on when I compared my financial aid packages, UCLA gave me only 2,000 for the parenting grant and Berkeley gave me 8,000. But when I compare the cost of attendance, including housing and tuition fees, it equaled the same because UCLA actually cost a little less than Berkeley did. So, but now I think the email Natasha was asking about, and I just reviewed it. It is legit. It's from the Cal grant, and now they have for full-time students up to $6,000 from the Cal grant, and that's also the grant that Nancy's talking about. It's not directly from UCLA. It's the Cal Grant Commission who sends it over to UCLA. So if you're a parenting student and you get the Cal grant, make sure to let financial aid know that. So if you're a full-time student, you can get that full 6,000, and that's at any school.
With that said, I think that's a perfect segue to do our closing, and it is a great way to end with a we'll have an evaluation, and that's how we will do the raffle. So please do stay to the end. But Brenda is going to tell you about this amazing scholarship that's open to single parents right now. Take it away, Brenda.
Okay, I actually won the scholarship last year. It was of $6,000. They're up to $10,000. It's the biggest scholarship I've received, outside scholarship besides the ones that UCLA gives you. So it's funny here if you look to see the Raise the Bar logo in front of UCLA's campus because Anthony Barr, the co-founder of Raise the Bar, played football at UCLA, and now he's an NFL player for Minnesota Vikings, and he was raised by a single mom named Lori Barr, and they're both the co-founders of Raise the Bar. And navigating higher education for me as a first-generation college student is challenging. I try my best to take one step at a time, transferring to UCLA, but my imposter syndrome did not go away until I plugged into student parent programs such as Raise the Bar. After reading the inspiring stories about other single moms from Lori's weekly blog updates, it strengthened me to stay resilient. And now I'm entering graduate school while embracing my identity as a student parent, and I'm more confident about mine and Zoe's future. The Raise the Bar scholarship that I won, it broke down my academic barriers, so I was able to obtain my bachelor's degree and cleared my pathway to obtain my master's degree in social work. And all the work, assignments I did, school assignments, including my graduate school applications, were all done through the laptop that I purchased through Raise the Bar. And the scholarship also helped me with rent and ultimately provided me and Zoe with a successful future without me and her struggling financially. So I believe that the program's success continues to thrive because it's led by genuinely caring people who have experienced dismantling academic barriers firsthand, and they came together to pay it forward. And because Raise the Bar maintains the voice of single parents as a center of their work, I actually have the privilege to work with them as their newly created board. So I'm actually working with them now because they want to make sure that single parents, that their voice are heard. So if you have any concerns, let me know and I'll let them know because they do have the platform to make a difference. So Raise the Bar is committed to increasing opportunity and economic mobility for low income single students and their children through education. The scholarships, like I mentioned, are up to $10,000 for single parents each year in California and Minnesota. They also have emergency grants up to $500, and you just have to be a part of their partner organizations. And then they work collaboratively with other single parent programs. So it's not just them; they're also working with LACC. They're working with other programs to see what works for single parents. And the impact that they've done since 2016, they're proud to say that they awarded over $325,000 in tuition, childcare, emergency grants to single parents. And they just wanted to say congratulations to their 2020 graduates. It's me, Carissa, Karita, and Maria. Congratulations. Also, you can apply to it now. It's open. I'm going to go ahead and drop down the link, and please apply. If you're a single parent, you are eligible to win this $10,000. You can apply as many times before you, as long as you're still an undergrad. And please, all you have to do is tell them your story, and your story is worth hearing. I'm going to leave it to Cherry.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, team. Thank you so much, full-time staff, for being here. I definitely want to open it up for full-time staff to say a few words after this, but I did just put in the link to our evaluation. It is really important to us to find out how we're doing in terms of this webinar, what would be useful to you in the next webinar. So please fill out the evaluation that is in the chat. And I will open it up to first the full-time staff, and then anybody else who would like to speak for this.
Hello, everyone. I just, again, want to say thank you for being here. I said most of what I wanted to say already a little while ago about connecting and letting us help you. Continue to be an advocate for yourself, as Suleika and others have said. Do what you need to do to protect your families and to ensure that you get what you deserve and what is rightfully yours. Work with us in allowing us to help you. Let us know what you need from us and stay connected. This is a beautiful community, and thankful to Cherry for her continued leadership over the years and ensuring that we do this, and to all of the committee that has put this together, Nancy, Suleika, and Brenda, and anyone else that I've forgotten. But thank you again, and power to the parent transfer, student parent transfer. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfred.
Hi, everyone. Wow, what a great day. I mean, the morning was just amazing with the speakers, the afternoon, which is so full of information, the details, right? So thank you to all of you for participating, and thank you to the committee and Cherry, and really thank you to you for ensuring that you are taking the steps you need to take in order to empower yourself, not only with the information, but with the motivation and inspiration to do what you need to do as well. So I think, yes, we are here as a village for you, but I also think we need to look at those structural barriers so that no one should have to have, the challenges that they have just because they're a student parent. So I look forward, as I told you in the morning, to be able to work with you and to continue to get to know each other. So yeah, thank you and congratulations.
Hi everyone, Blanca over here, multitasking, cooking in the back. You can see the sleeve and with the little one. So I just feel so blessed and fortunate to be in this space. You know, this is a new experience for me as well, trying to go back to school. So I'm very inspired from and by every single one of you here, just so I can keep going. Hopefully I can start the process of studying for the LSAT so I can go back to school. But like I said, I'm very inspired by all of your resilience and all the hard work that you do. And, you know, let's keep raising all these freedom fighters and teach them to advocate for themselves. He's advocating for himself, trying to ask for something, so I'll go to him. But enjoy the rest of your weekend and power to the student parent transfer.
Thank you. And I will go ahead and open it up to if any. So we have officially ended. Thank you very much. But I still want to open it up if you know, any of our panelists want to say a few words, or if you're a student who are in this presentation and you want to share some of your thoughts, feel free. And we could stop recording now.
Sherry, can I add something?
Please do, go for it.
There were many people asking financial aid, and one thing that I want to share is the McNair Scholars Program and the Melanie Scholars Program. They have a very generous stipend, and so for me, on top of my financial aid, the McNair stipend, which if I remember correctly was about $12,000, and they disperse it within those 2 years, but they also offer GRE prep course. We spend an entire summer living at the university housing, going through an intensive summer program, preparing for grad school. And right now that I'm in the process of applying to graduate programs, I'm going to be eligible for fee waivers through the McNair Scholar Program. So any questions you might have about that, let me know, reach out. And why I wanted to mention that is because it really meant that I was able to kind of treat McNair as my part-time job, fully engage in research, start planning to prepare for graduate school. And it just aligned perfectly. And those $12,000, they don't police what you use with that money. The statement is as straightforward as use that money is intended to help you ensure that you finish the project. And so for me, that meant paying my car insurance because I was commuting. And so if I didn't get to campus, then I couldn't do research. So that was my logic for anything that I did. So if you have any questions, please reach out.
Thank you.
I want to just quickly say too that for everyone to reach out to us if they have any questions. When I was a mentee, like I know everyone said it, but I was so used to not asking for help and I didn't know how to do it and I wasn't sure. I was like, do they mean it? So I never, for that 1 year, even though I thought about it and I wrote down those emails, I didn't do it because I was afraid, I was shy. So, you know, do reach out to us because we are here and we all do want to help. So that's what I want to say.
Thank you guys so much for this information. Have a great day. Goodbye.
Thank you, Naomi.
Yeah, thank you, Nancy and Miriam. As always, very informative, very concise and diligent. I appreciate you guys so much. And just a special shout out to Miriam because she's helping me in my honors class right now.
Thank you, Alicia.
Alicia.
Thank you, everyone. It's always so refreshing to see everyone. I mean, not just Santiago. I used to be just happy to see Santiago, but now it's everyone. I used to be Santiago. Thank you so much. Thank you for this energy.
Thank you, Angelica.
Thank you.
All right. With that, I guess I wish you all a great weekend. Thank you for joining our webinar. Oh, our next webinar will be on former and current foster youth. So please look out on our social media for our next session. Santi, do you know if it's next Friday or next Saturday? You're on mute. But please just keep an eye out for our social media.
Yeah, so the next is going to be on, no, the next one is, sorry, the Chicanx Latinx Experience on September 5th. And then the foster youth is September 12th.
Thank you. So please join us. Please advertise for our next two webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good week.